starting to get a message out.
Yeah? Think people are listening?
Well, I can only hope so. They can listen all they want. It's whether or not they provide some action.
So what I'd like to do, I'd turn this over very briefly, and Tony, you better hear that, to Tony Hall, who's going to make a brief announcement.
Hello, Lethbridge! All right! We think we are Albertans, we're critical thinkers, and Ralph Klein does not speak for us. This is not a protest. This is a rally in support of our national government, in support of Lethbridge government. Who's doing the protest? Ralph Klein with our public tax money. And when the sun goes down, we're going to be out on the Pagan Reserve beside the largest windmill in Western Canada. And right now, Mike Little Mustache is putting up a teepee. And a teepee is high technology. So we are not going to give in to this fear-mongering. We are going to be looking to the future and embracing the future. And we are smart. We are going to not look back to the fossil age. We're going to look forward to the wind power age, to the people power age. All right.
The next speaker is Dr. Jim Byrne, who from the University of Lethbridge.
What you have is a preponderance of publications supporting global warming as being a very serious issue. I have searched through the literature. I can find almost nothing in the refereed science literature from reputable scientists that disputes the claims of myself and my colleagues. The impact will be greater on Alberta than average over the world. So look for concerns. I'm wondering, how many of you are actually afraid for the earth? Just put up your hands. Are you afraid for the earth? You know what? I feel that you don't have to be afraid for the earth. Now, please, media people, please make sure you carry this message forward for me, okay? You don't have to be afraid for the earth. The earth will do wonderfully. The earth will recover from any kind of crap and garbage we can pour upon her, or him, or it, or however you'd like to characterize the earth. The point is, the sufferers will be the human population. And it's going to be bad enough here in Alberta, but we are hoisting something on the developing world which is going to be a tragedy and a disaster, and it's not their problem. They're not creating the problem, but they will suffer to the greatest degree.
Between here in Calgary or anywhere in Alberta, you fly over it, gas is flaring, they're burning gas and spewing it out into the atmosphere. You know, the companies that are doing this are giving large amounts of money to the Conservative Party, to the Liberal Party, and to the Alliance Party to fund their elections. We don't take money from these parties. We take it in small donations from people like you. And that's what we need to do, is end those kinds of things so that the government is run by the people and makes the decisions that the people want.
There's over 160 countries that effectively got together and said, let's do something. Let's start a process here where we, in effect, are going to make a commitment to improve the kind of world we live in. The industrialized countries took the initiative, which is only right. They are the ones with the wealth. They should have taken the initiative. They've started, they've made commitments. The other countries will follow along in the next phase of this process. And what we'll do then is, in effect, bring all of the world into a program that will help a real crisis that's facing our world. The idea, or the issue of global warming. There's no question in the scientific community that this is happening, that the use of hydrocarbon fuels is contributing to it, and that we can make an improvement by cutting down on the use of hydrocarbon fuels and changing the way that we live. We want products that are more fuel efficient, whether it's in terms of their use or even in terms of their construction. You know, and why is it that the federal government or anybody has not yet implemented, you know, the R2000 standards for home construction? There are still homes being built in this province with 2x4s. That's not acceptable. You know, we have to start having fuel efficient homes. And we have to make those steps. We have to make them quickly, and we have to make sure that we get proactive. And I want to thank every one of you for coming out here.
Hey, ho, certified
Yeah, I just got an email.
Who saw the Lethbridge Herald today? Ken Nichol got a headline by saying Heather Forsyth, I've met her, she should resign, Calgary gal. Ken Nichol could get a headline if he'd say Klein should resign over the lost document. Yeah. Right?
Anybody know what the difference is between Ralph Klein and George Bush? Well, one might be a moron, and the other one might be too. But I can remember in 1975, sort of sneaking in as a high school student, sneaking into the Student Union building at the University of Alberta to hear, at that time, a little-known scientist by the name of David Suzuki, and he was talking at that time about ozone depletion, global warming, species loss. Those were his three themes, and he was saying, in 20 to 30 years, the industrial world had better get its act together, or the world's going to become a really unpleasant place to live. In 1984, the United Nations released the Brundtland Commission report and talked about, in numbers, in real numbers, what the industrial world was going to have to do for the world to survive as a place for people to live in the future. And then, of course, in 1992, we had the Rio meetings where they started laying the groundwork for the Kyoto Accord, which was developed in 1997. This should not have been a surprise to anyone. Let's ask ourselves a very important question the next time we see an MLA or an MP who is in favor of not signing the accord, and that's why is it that in Alberta we have environment ministers who are constantly trashing the environment? Ralph Klein was the environment minister who sold the northern forests at 16 cents per tree, according to the Globe and Mail in 1989, to Japanese paper firms. Sold the northern forests, and actually the government subsidized the cost of the roads to get those trucks in there to take our trees away.
Keep this in mind. The Kyoto Protocol becomes an international law. It becomes an international protocol at a certain point. And that point is when 55 countries, I'm doing some more numbers here, 55 countries representing, it's complicated, 55% of industrial emissions in 1990. We have a special opportunity here. It's up to us to make sure, and responsibility to the global community to make sure that Alberta gets out of the way, that Premier Klein gets out of the way, and it's signed. And let everyone saying, it's being said that Canada will sign in the next 2 weeks, but I'll tell you something. I've been involved in elections, and we all know history. Never, ever count your chickens before they hatch. This is the home stretch. Let's do what we can in the next 2 weeks and get this thing signed. Okay.
All right.
Burson Marsteller has branch plants all over the world. The one in Canada, the head office is in Montreal. It's called National PR. And National PR in Calgary is probably, with help of, we think, Esso Oil, putting and organizing and arranging this campaign against Kyoto.
Like Lethbridge, saying that we should be looking at, as wind turbines as the first cash crop and not the second.
Yeah.
Imagine, your father should be getting $2,000 per turbine per year. Mm-hmm. So if you go up here and talk to Mike Gross at the Hutterite Colony, he's getting something in that order of magnitude. So if your father's got 32 wind farms, that's $64,000 per year, and that's more than he can make by grazing cows on this arid land.
Oh, I know that.
But he can still graze his cows. Mm-hmm. So I'm just saying that the first cash crop should be the wind generation. So it's a win-win-win for agriculture.
It's a win-win-win wind.
Well, wow.
Can you come here, honey? Can you hold this sign? Thank you so much.
Stand right out in front.
Okay, stand right out in front of you. All right.
All right.
No, don't move, you guys. Hold handcuffed.
Okay, Brian, don't smile so hard, okay?
Okay.
Stop smiling so proudly.
Raise the smile.
Oh, I'm backwards. Oh, I think
You were all alone on the legislature steps there.
Have I got my sign
Yeah,
back?
look at all the people around now, right?
Oh, that's
Yeah, they're camped out for 8 days.
Yeah, did you meet Mike? That's Mike.
Hi, Mike.
Brian.
How you doing?
Yeah, Brian was camping out.
Gee, you know what? You asked me to take this teepee up there. Well, I just wasn't a go, you know.
Yeah.
But it's here.
Oh, I know it is. I can see it.
This is showing us the way into the future, and that we're seeing the blend. To see these two technologies at the same time in the same place, and to share this experience with you folks who've been on the land, for forever, as part of land, and we need to learn that from the Aboriginal people and the idea of the long term. You point out here and you say nothing has changed here for forever, it seems. And you look out and you think nothing's changed, but then you think about it a bit more and you realize it's changing. The air is changing, and the atmosphere is changing, the temperature is changing, and the water cycle is changing, and the river's dammed up, and things are changing. How can we adapt and move into the future with some hope and some good spirit and some vision? And to see this, this wind turbine here next to the teepee, and to hear the stories and to be with you.